Morning and welcome to this to the Sports Desk live on Comcast Channel 26, also streamed on Facebook. Our very special guest today, Sandia head boys coach, basketball coach Danny Brown. His Matadors will go to Atrisco Heritage tonight to take on the Jaguars. Coach, thanks so much for joining us. We appreciate it.
Well, thank you for having me. Pretty exciting day for us here.
You know, Coach, you mentioned that, and Matadors, you lost a game against La Cueva, and you avenged that loss, and you're really playing well right now. Atrisco's playing well. Atrisco's got 6 wins in a row. The Matadors have reeled off 7 in a row. And I had your game the other night against El Dorado, which was a big game for Sean Johnson. You've got
Yeah.
some very good players. You know, you mentioned this to me though, and I think the reality, coach, of the season, we saw Carlsbad having to forfeit out of the state tournament. That's unusual, right? Talk a little bit about what it was for you, what it meant for you to even have a season, because coach, we mentioned, I talked to you a couple of times during this pandemic. We didn't even know if it was going to be one.
Yeah, no, it's been definitely challenging, but it is really exciting for the kids, all kids, just to have a season, right? Whether it was 10 games or 12 games, because just the way things were going, it didn't look like this was going to happen. So we're very grateful, for the decision that came down to be able to play. And, it's unfortunate that, it's only an 8-team tournament, because there are some definite teams out there that belong in there. And, but it is what it is. And we're fortunate to be there and be able to play. And we're just excited. We're excited. We play a good Atrisco team. More so, I've been mentioning this a lot. They're just a good program, and that's what we're playing against. It's not just a good team. It's a really good program, and we'll see. We're striving to get there and try to eventually be a good program consistently. So we're gonna have our hands full definitely tonight.
We saw the potential last year. My son and I did a game at Sandia. We saw the potential of a Sean Johnson. We saw the potential of an Eli Lovato. Alexander Rosales has played very well. Preston Heave, Dylan DeArco, Dalen Moyer, Sean Gilbert. I think you've got contributions from several Matadors. To talk a little bit about Sean Johnson, because I'll tell you, more and more, Coach, we're seeing this. The other night, he had about 5 straight possessions where he scored and nobody could stop him. It's going to be
Yeah.
a different. You mentioned this to me last night. We talked a little bit. It's a different game with the Trisco defense. We know that. But talk about Sean Johnson's development a little bit. And then I want to ask you about Eli Lovato, but talk about Sean
Yeah.
Johnson.
Well, Sean's maturing as we speak, right? He's matured from last year. Handled. And we've had our little battles back and forth, and he's a super kid though. Like, it's just he has a really, really good heart. And it was a challenge for him last year to play for me, because his freshman year I was the assistant coach, and that's all he knew me as. And these kids now are understanding who I really am as a head coach. Being that assistant coach, I always was that nice guy putting my arm around them, and they now are getting to see kind of the guy that I was and am as a head coach. And it was an adjustment period last year, and we were young, and he was young, and so he's responded really well this year. We're still in the process of getting better, and he wants to get better. He's had a super year, and we hopefully it continues. But he's done some things now and been a lot more coachable in terms of like where we want to get him the ball, and he understands this is going to help our basketball team win games, and so he's done that. And because he's done that, I give him a little bit more freedom as a player, and you saw that against El Dorado, where the game, the flow was him bringing up the ball, him getting the ball in the middle of the floor and going right. And normally we have him down on the block, and he's shooting at over a 60% clip because he gets those little bunnies. But if he's able to hit shots like that, then there's going to be a good balance, and he's going to be hard to guard. But we just want to keep him maturing as a player and getting better, and especially as a person. And he's been a really good human being in our program to us this year. And so that's what I'm more excited about than anything else is just, his compassion and his the way he cares about, his teammates, and the way he's putting his basketball team first. I've watched his interviews and all of that, and talks about his teammates, which we're so, so happy about.
Tell you what, he's got the passion. He's got the swag. He's got the cockiness a little bit. All the good ones do. There's nothing wrong with that, right? You were like that as a ball player. Your brother Greg was like that. We all had that a little bit, and I love watching the kid. I do. I love interviewing him. He's always very respectful. Let's go to Eli Lovato, and a lot of people that may not know the son of former Highland great Sean Baker. He's a little bit different, right, than Sean was. Sean was quick. Coach Sean was one of the best guards Highland ever had, arguably maybe the best guard Highland ever had. Highland's had some good ones. I'd probably say Sean's top three for sure. Talk a little bit about his development at 6'1", 180 as a sophomore. He's got much more power than Sean did. He's got a lot to learn, though, and I've seen this. I've seen 2 of your games. You had to sit him out a couple of times. He got into some foul trouble, and it's teaching moments. And in the condensed season, you don't always have time to teach the things you want. Talk about his development.
Well, first and foremost, he's a lot like Sean in terms of just a very beautiful young man. We're lucky to have, a human being like that on our team, man. He's just a good kid. And so, one of the things being around and playing against his dad, when I did back in high school and just growing up with his dad, there are some things that are so similar, just sometimes the way they move on the court and, their mannerisms. And it's pretty, I'm like, man, but you're right in the fact that, Eli is a big, strong guard. And he can move, and his IQ is off the charts. And so, we knew he was going to be really good, and we threw him into the fire last year. And I don't know if you could really tell he was a freshman last year, and this year, that experience is paying off for us. We got to keep him on the floor. That's one of the biggest things. And he's gotten in foul trouble. If you looked at that El Dorado game, we sat him from the 5.5-minute mark all the way till halftime. He didn't play. And so, we're better with him on the floor, but I like our guys behind him, and our guys step up. But Eli's going to have a super fantastic career here. Just a great kid, and very fun to coach, and just respectful. I mean, it's just, I'm lucky. That's all I can say is I'm lucky to have kids like those two. And with my other guys, we're lucky. And so, but we expect the world of Eli, and takes a little bit of pressure off of Sean. And so we'll see what happens with that tonight, because both of them are going to get defended relatively hard.
Yes, we mentioned that the other day, and Trisco Heritage, known for their defensive presence, 2-time champion there with Adrian Ortega. All the respect in the world for his programs. We mentioned 6 wins in a row, and they take on and I think it's going to be a little different venture for Sean Johnson. Colby Wade's a very good defender, right? He's sometimes I'll see him do something and it's out of the blue, like, whoa, he's really grown as a player, and again, in a condensed season. And I think, again, Isaiah Brooks, the change of speed dribble, you already know about that. But the other guards, Chris Pata, Pacheco, Mendoza, Padilla, even Aiden Platero will come off the bench, and they play within the system, Coach. You already know that. I think what amazes me, they don't go in there and force stuff and stay and think, I've got to get mine. They stay. Chris Pata is such a great quarterback, and they're a well-coached team.
They are. Adrian's always done a good job with his teams, even, when he was here at Sandia. His teams are always tough to play against. They're hard-nosed. That's one of the things that's a key for us tonight is trying to beat them on 50-50 balls and just getting on the floor and out toughing them there. There's not much drop off from their team from last year or the year before, and they've won 2 out of the last 3 state championships. And so again, we talk about like programs. That's what that is. It's a program. It's not, they don't need to rebuild. They just reload, and the next guy steps in, and he has a really good system down there that kids enjoy playing in, and you know, they do things right. You know, they do things right, and it's fun to coach against teams like that. It's fun. It's challenging, but it's fun. It's fun to coach against Adrian and the things that he brings to the table. So, you know, we can't just key on one guy. We gotta play team defense and kind of dance together and work together and, you know, see what happens from there. But you know, it's gonna be a big challenge for us tonight, no question.
You mentioned that it's a program. They lost Ramos, they lost Gaxiola, they lost Rivas, right? They lost, but you mentioned that. So it is a program. So the loss of those guys was a whole, but it didn't decimate the program. They can go 2-10 or whatever, right? And that's a tribute to Coach Ortega, who's been at Oñate, who's been at Sandia, but also, Coach, you've been with your father at Academy, you've been at Valley, you've been at Highland. You've got some great experience behind you as well.
Yeah, no, and it's, you know, I'm here because of obviously my dad, no question. But along the way, like I've had some great mentors and coaches, and Coach Coleman is one of those as well that coached under my dad. And, you know, I get to talk to my brother every single day, and in terms of just basketball stuff. So, you know, we're just lucky, man. I'm lucky. And then my college coach was a Highland grad too, Dan Hayes. And so, you know, great X's and O's guys. So I've been so lucky to have people, you know, that, you know way more than me that can help me out, especially my dad. It's been awesome, you know, when I was at Highland, having him on my bench, and, you know, it's awesome that Greg's had him on his bench. And so it's just, it's a great thing to just to be able to be around those kind of guys.
I see your son as a Sandia ball boy. I see Greg's daughter playing for Volcano Vista. That tree doesn't fall too far off, right? It's the love of the game. You know, my son and I shared that. You know, I played and coached. My son played and coached. We broadcast together. Never goes away, right? I mean, all the limbs that you mentioned, Coach
Right.
Coleman, Coach Julian, your father. We're going to talk about him more in the second segment. Your brother. Think about all those limbs, Coach.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I always tell people, like, growing up, you know, it was you know, I don't know if you know, my dad always was like, don't get into basketball, don't be a coach, don't be a teacher, man. Like, you got to make some money. But, you know, like, we grew up in that gym, and, like, I'm not sure we had a choice or whatever. We did, but I'm not sure we wanted to do anything else. And two, like, you know, I know Greg's the same way, but shit, I want to be like my dad, man. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's just what it was. That's what it is. And so, that's important. And so with our kids, my brother has his two boys, and my sister has her son that's playing for my brother as well. And you know, Kennedy's been in the gym, my brother's niece. And then I have my daughter, Chloe, and my son, Isaiah. So they're always in the gym. And so it's just like, you know, my wife always talks about, like, we need to make these kids more well-rounded. They got to do this and this. And well, I was like, man, like I said this the other day, I said, a basketball is well-rounded, right? Like, you know, like, so, but I hear her, but it's funny because, you know, my kids love being in the gym, you know, especially my son. He loves being here. He loves being around the guys. And I just remember, and I told Camille, my wife, like, that was the experience I had with my dad's team, man. It's so cool to just be around those guys. And in fact, like today, we're going to feed our kids. And one of my dad's old players is, you know, a big guy, a big wig over at Rudy. So I called him, and he played on that 84 team with Pat Coash and all those, Randy Kinnis. So, you know, it's cool to still stay in touch with those guys. And Jimmy Roberts, who was a guy that played for my dad a long time ago too, like, just like those are guys that were, when I was like 6, 7, 8 years old, my son's age, like I was around them in the locker room. I remember them stuffing me in the lockers, all of that stuff, you know.
Great
So
memories.
yeah, it's just
Coach, we're going to take a break. When we come back in the second segment, we're going to talk more about your father, Mike Brown. We'll be back to the sports desk after these messages on ProView Networks.
Another, what a scoop shot by Lamar Rogers. That's going to be on someone's top 10, believe me.
Luna almost strips it away. Perea is there, and the feed to Rogers, the finish underneath. Stripped, Luna with it in transition. King with the big block off the board.
Kaplan puts it on the deck, goes through contact, great pass inside to Rogers. Rogers scores easy. 8 points.
And a steal.
Corner
Perea.
three for Perea's up. It's good.
Oh, he got it.
Perea has 4 threes for 16 points in the first half.
Good ball movement. Watson gets it in right-handed and makes it. Jaded ideas.
Oh, great pass to Rogers. Reverse
Oh,
layup is up and good.
nice.
Another
Ooh.
highlight move by Lamar Rogers.
He's just a guard right now. He's not a...
Between the legs, loses Parham, fires a straightaway three. It's good. Sean Johnson has it going from all ends of the floor. Look at the Sandia bench.
For kids, it's just... Oh, here comes
the pass. Let's see if King tries to
Oh,
and
yes,
he
he
does.
did.
Puts it down on the one-hand jam. What an outlet pass from Master Kaplan. They get it into Barella. 10 seconds left. Barella double team. Someone's got to be open to Valencia with 6 seconds left. 5 seconds left, 3 seconds left. Valencia spin cycle, puts it up for the win, scores, it's over. El Dorado wins 39-37. What a job, or what a shot by Haley Valencia. Took the ball in the right wing with 3 seconds left, drove to the basket, and El Dorado wins 39-37. Haley Valencia will be our Jackson Compaction Player of the Game. We'll be back for an interview with Haley Valencia after these messages. You're watching ProView Networks.
Here's Savic, 10 seconds left. All by herself is Jersey Jones. Jones loses control. Jones kicks it out. Love, Ottman for the game. Ottman at the buzzer. La Cueva wins 64-61, avenging their only loss of the season.
Hi, I'm Staff Sergeant Hayes. I'm with the New Mexico Army National Guard, and I'm from Tucson, Arizona.
Hi, I'm Staff Sergeant Greg Martinez. I'm with the New Mexico Army National Guard, and I'm from Santa Fe, New Mexico.
Hi, I'm Marilena Fernandez. I'm with the New Mexico Army National Guard, and I'm from Santa Fe, New Mexico.
The New Mexico Army National Guard is a proud supporter of New Mexico high school athletics.
Welcome back to the Sports Desk live on Comcast Channel 26, also streamed on Facebook. I'm your host, Ed Nunez. Our special guest today, Sandia boys basketball coach Danny Brown. His Matadors will travel to Trisco Heritage tonight, take on the Jaguars in the first round of the 5A playoffs. And coach, we went back to old school 8 teams, right, in the tournament instead of the usual 16. Back in the day, it was only 8.
Yeah, it was tough. So what we did at Academy was like, I look back on it, it was 4 classifications, and we were in a pretty tough district in 3A, and with Bernalillo and Capital, and back then it was just crazy good basketball. Like, not that it isn't now, but it was so like difficult to get in. tournament. So it's unbelievable what my dad accomplished with us over there at Academy, man, because it's like all it takes is one bad night back then and you're not in the state tournament, So it's pretty impressive though.
I remember that when I was a senior, Albuquerque High was 24-4. They lost in the district tournament to Los Alamos. They were out. Huge upset. And that's the year that Hobbs won the championship. And I think Albuquerque High 24-4 might have given them a run, and they lost in the tournament. And that was it. And I don't think a lot of people remember that. And now it's 8 teams. And Coach, a couple of things for you before we get to your father, Mike Brown. Talk about the challenges it was to even coach in a pandemic. Pods of 5. We're going to play. We're not going to play. Yo-yo emotions up and down. Talk about what the challenges was in regards to that.
It was hard, like just to know when we were going to be able to be in the gym, but also just not being around our guys. Like, like it was tough. And so they would text me, Coach, we're going over to Snow Park, or they were finding ways to be together, which was good. I guess I don't know if I should say that because like in the fall, but like they were finding ways, and kids, that's just what kids did. But like, when we were able to get in the gym, like it was just like everybody felt so good about it. It was really cool. And with the pods, I felt like I wasn't too worried about being in pods and not getting team stuff done, because what we needed was a ton of skill work. And we did, I charted it. We did before we could practice, and with our official first practice with our groups together, we had 46 days of skill work, and it was really, really good, like really good. And it benefited us. And I think part of that is part of our success is because of that with all that skill work. And so, we didn't have to really spend a ton of time in practice now doing it because we didn't have a lot of time. We had to do some team stuff, but it was exciting. It was cool. And then when the kids knew we were going to have a season, man, they were so happy. So, this is awesome for all of them, and anybody that got to play.
You had some seniors on your roster, and we'll get to that in a second. Now, Coach, we want to talk about your father, Mike Brown. He won 6 straight championships at the Albuquerque Academy. You mentioned he was in 11 champions state tournaments. Is that right?
Yeah.
11?
Yeah, 11 finals.
11 finals. Member of the New Mexico Sports Hall of Fame, inducted in 2018, I believe. Was it 2018?
Yeah.
Okay. Again, Coach, I want you to explain. We've talked about it. You serenaded us with some beautiful songs to your dad. Beautiful. It's heartfelt, Coach. Really, it doesn't matter what kind of tune we can carry or not. Yeah, that's from the heart, Coach. So to me, it was beautiful. I've known your dad. I told you to go back to Holy Ghost with your dad. Talk a little bit about your father to us, and this is something I asked you about before, and you wanted to talk about it.
Yeah, well, first, like, look, I'm gonna turn around so you can see, and I know you guys probably saw this jacket, but this is where it says Team Papa, right? Can you see that?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so that's our tribute. I'm gonna wear it a little bit tonight. I wore it the other night. Greg wore it the other night. So it's just kind of our tribute to my dad. Having part of him there at least with us is important because he was on both of our benches. And so it is he's instrumental in what we do, always has been. And he's going through a ton of health issues right now, and it's not great, and it's okay. Like, I'm okay talking about it. I think people need to know, like, he's a fighter, and he's gonna try to, I'm not sure he's gonna get better, but he's gonna try to be here as long as he can, and I know he wants to watch us play as long as he can. So it is it's tough not having him at our games, even in the stands. I watched film from last year, and he was there. He was in the stands. I could see him over there. So we really miss having him there. And it's a tough deal. I think about it, and I just, I see him every day at the window if I can't go in there, and just seeing him there, it's great to see him there, but it's hard to see him like he is. But his last things that he always does for me is he blows me kisses, gives me kisses. And so it makes me tear up a little bit, but we're going to fight for him, and You know, we're just there for him, and he's comfortable, and you know, so you know, we're just, you know, he's always in our thoughts and our prayers, and so we just, you know, of course we adore him. You know, I don't know what else to say. He's my dude, man. That's all I can say. He's my dude.
You know, we've managed to get out words again. We mentioned the legacy and the coaching tree. Jake Heron of the Academy, I think, coached under your dad. Travis Julian, Joe Coleman, you, Greg, your brother Greg. I remember when you guys were assistants with your dad. I remember when Greg was an assistant at Academy. Yeah. I still remember that when Joe Coleman was. And so your dad's Roy Morgan coached under your father and got the job at Academy. So those branches go a long way. And I got to say this: we mentioned Tasker, we mentioned Coach Holzman, we mentioned Ron Geyer, we mentioned Pete Schock. Yes, they deserve that. Your dad deserves to be in that company as well. There's no question about it. All the things he accomplished there. And Coach, you know how hard it is to win a championship. 6 in a row is unbelievable. It really is. Think about it. You even mentioned how hard it was to win back then. So I think we're sometimes shortchanging Coach Brown because no disrespect to Coach Tasker, Coach Holzman, Coach Schock, Jim Murphy, right? He's won 16. He belongs up there. But your father absolutely belongs in that company.
Yeah, and those are like, you know, legendary coaches, and you know, we, like, my dad totally like does belong in that category. There's no question. You know, but more so, like, and those guys are great people. We're great people, you know, and so but I can't tell you enough, like, you know, all the wins and losses, like, are awesome, like, you know, and that's part of the journey. But like, I will tell you this 100%, what my dad's going to be remembered for is not, you know, especially with his players, is not for all the wins and all the state championships and district championships and coach of the year. Like, he's going to be remembered for the human being that he is, the man that he is, you know, and what he did for those kids in his program. You know, like, Academy kids have issues too, you know what I mean? And so just the way he could bring kids together, and he could make kids understand, man, like, look, I'm here to help you. I'm here. And those kids would run through a wall for him. And I always say this: he didn't have the most talented teams all the time at Academy, not by far. And he could push the right buttons. And it wasn't just an X and an O. That's not what it was about to him. It was building those relationships and that trust. And once that happened, man, like, you saw some of his least talented teams win state championships or get to the finals or get to that state tournament or win a district title. And it wasn't because of, you know, play 1, 2, or 3 or any of that stuff. It wasn't because of the defense. It was because of the man that he is, and the respect that those kids had for him, and the love that he had for those kids, and it was reciprocated. And so that's what he's gonna be remembered for.
And like you said, he's still with us. He's going through some things. He's still very much with us. One last question, Coach, before we let you go. Tonight, Matadors at Trisco Heritage, 6 p.m. Fans in the stands, right? 25%. It's a different show at Trisco when they got the fans, for sure. Yeah. What do the Matadors have to do to advance to the semifinals of the state tournament?
Well, I mean, you know, again, like, we're going to have to, you know, we've been scoring pretty well this year. And I told our guys, this is going to be the best defensive team we play all year. So we're going to have to find ways to score the ball. And if we can get out in transition, cool. We'll get some easy baskets that way. But you know, Trisco is going to have us well scouted. So we're going to have to find other ways to score the ball. We're going to have to defend them well. They're going to shoot it, and they're going to hit shots. And can we respond, right? Can we just make it uncomfortable for them? That's the biggest thing. And so however we can do that, we're going to try. But, you know, and this is, again, like a program that's been here, and this is new for our guys. So we've been talking about it, and they're ready. We've been playing well too. So on the other hand, Trisco has to get ready for the things that we do. And I think we do a lot of things well. So I hope it's a good game. I hope it's going to be a fun environment. I'm so happy for both groups of kids at Trisco and ours, that there will be fans in the stands, and you know, it'll be like it'll be a great atmosphere, and we're excited to be a part of it.
Coach Danny Brown, thanks so much for joining us. Good luck tonight against the Trisco Heritage.
Thank you, and thank you for having me, man. I appreciate it.
You know you're my guy, man. We go back a long time. You know that.
Appreciate it.
For producer Alden Iwani, I'm Ed Nunez. We'll see you next Tuesday on the Sports Desk.